said the AD carry role is essential, but mages slipping bot lane kind of shows how marksmen are outdated outside of competitive. I mean, Dukef, just because it is possible to play a mage into a marksman does not mean that marksmen are outdated. Like that's like saying, like, I don't know, like assassins mid are outdated because you can run Orianna against them. I don't know, it feels like that. It's like, yeah, there's some mages that go bot lane and are really good against marksmen. A lot of that is because in 8.11, I think one of the reasons that is in 8.11 we tuned Marksman's base stats to not really be able to survive lane as well against mages. In 8.11 we like tuned down their AD, we gave mages more mana, and we tuned down marksman health regen, so marksmen are just a lot less resilient to especially like long range poke from mages without being able to fight back as much. And so they definitely suffer in lane against some mages, not all of them. But that doesn't necessarily mean that role is terrible or bad, given that it is in almost every game. If it was truly terrible or bad, you would start seeing people switch over to the other stuff, which is what we saw in 8.11. In 8.11, like, people like legitimately started like swapping off marksman completely. But aside from that, it's been, I mean, that's the only time it's really happened. Do marksmen lose to some mages? Yes. That doesn't mean marksmen as a class are terrible, though. It means some mages probably really counter those characters in bot lane. I think one of the reasons that marksmen feel rough a lot of the time actually is because they are hard bound to supports and vice versa. And so as a marksman, you can't win the game without your support, and as a support, you can't win the game without your marksman. Although supports, especially in higher MMR, that's not necessarily true, because as a support you can roam, right? So you can be like, okay, well this marksman's not going to win me the game, I'll get mid ahead. So support, it can be less true the higher MMR you get, although in lower MMR you tend to just need to stay bot because your marksman will feed otherwise. But yeah, there is a thing I think that's rough about marksman and bot lane in general, is that, like, you know, it's a duo lane, and so you're bound to the performance of your duo. It's hard to like necessarily outplay yourself. You have to outplay together, which can be rough depending on the who you're paired with. Like this game, this Smolder couldn't win because of me, right? Like I just wasn't playing well, and the reason he was behind wasn't his fault, it was my fault, right? So he had a bad support and he suffered for it. The game I played at the start of the day when I had that Sivir, I was doing, I would argue, pretty good as a support, but you know, Sivir just wasn't playing well, and so it didn't matter how good I was doing, like we still were gonna lose because my Sivir just wasn't playing the game well. And so either role can contribute to like the bot lane losing. But I think one of the complexities of it is that they are like kind of bound together in a lot of times, meaning that I think it can feel rough when you're like, I don't know if I can win because I have this other person.